Hey, Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro members. Thanks for being pro members once again. It does help us to get more content, get more information out there for you guys to find and catch more fish when you come to Table Rock. We really do appreciate that. This is the extended version of the weekly fishing report exclusively for you guys that are pro members. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at a 911.39, so basically 3.5 feet below normal pool. Core is still running water, actually running quite a bit of water, so I would not be surprised to see us get down as low as maybe 909. It's been a long time since we've been that low. Would not shock me because there's not a whole lot of rain in the forecast. Water temperature, 55. That's where it was today. Pretty much what I'm seeing all over the lake. I wouldn't mind seeing that a little bit cooler to get the deep bite a little bit stronger, but I can tell you right now the deep bite was definitely better today and over the weekend than it's been for the last few weeks. This cooler water is certainly helping, and I fully expect it to get better as we get closer or as the water gets colder. But the bite has been really good, and we're catching fish a lot of different ways. Best way to stay on top of it, of course, use your Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro membership and get all those reports daily, weekly, tournament results, so on and so forth. But if you're coming down, you're going to fish the lower end of the lake. Lower end's been strong with a deep bite, especially around some of the trees back in the creeks. It seems like on the lower end, that deep bite is better in the creeks than it is out on the main lake. Mostly from the mouths to about halfway back into the creek. Sometimes you'll find them a little bit further, but most of them from the mouth about halfway back in and around those deep trees. The key to it though is finding shad. If there's shad back in those trees or shad close by, you can certainly catch them on a drop shot with a shad shape or a cut tail. You can catch them on a Damiki rig. You can catch them on a scuba spoon. You can catch them on a jigging wrap, and you can catch them on a live spin as well. Most of those fish have been anywhere from 25 to 50 foot deep, and it's wherever the shad are. So if you can find the shad, you can certainly get bit doing that. There is a jig bite down on the lower end. It's a little bit deeper. It's anywhere from about 10 to about 20, even 25 foot deep. The Pee Wee HD football jig has been best in either Hail Mary or touchdown, matched up with either a Versa craw or a speed craw. Most of those fish we're catching doing that have been smallmouth, and most of them are around either rock piles or brush piles. So if you know where some rock piles are, some brush piles, or even standing timber on some points, that's where we're catching those fish. Go on up Long Creek a little ways, and there has been a decent crankbait bite up there as well. Of course, wigglewort and rock crawler. Channel swing banks, the ends of those channel swing banks with wind on them have been good, even back in some of the creeks on some of those ledgy type points. That's been good. So you can catch them doing that, and you can catch them up Long Creek as well, flipping a jig on those same points and pockets. If you don't have wind, throw a little spider jig up there and work it down anywhere from about 8 to about 15 foot deep. Seems to be the depth most of those fish are, where you got a little color in the water. Here in the mid lake where I fished today, definitely a strong deep bite. Found the first really good big school of fish that I've seen so far. I expect more and more fish to start showing up. Again, the key is having shad. If you've got shad around, you can certainly catch them on a drop shot with either a shad shape or a cut tail. You can catch them on a Damiki rig. You can catch them on a jigging wrap. You can catch them on a scuba spoon. Even caught a few on a live spin today that I saw out on my forward-facing sonar and made cast to. So there are definitely fish to be caught doing that. Most of them, again, are in the creeks, but if you don't have shad in the creeks, it's really hard to get them to bite. Went into about 4 or 5 creeks this morning, caught fish out of 2 of those creeks, and both of those creeks had shad in them. The other creeks did not have shad. There were fish there, but there was no shad. Those fish were very inactive, so it was hard to get those fish to bite. Some fish out on the main lake, out on those flats, but really it's not there yet. We're getting really, really close to finding those bigger groups of fish out there on those main lake flats, but it'll probably be another week or so with this water temperature till it cools down. Jig bite's been strong here in the mid lake as well. Pee Wee HD football jig, Pee Wee HD spider jig, regular football jig, regular spider jig, anywhere from about 10 to about 20 or even 25 foot deep. Again, the key, just like down by the dam, is having some sort of wood or rock cover. Wood seems to be a little bit better than rock piles, whether it be a brush pile or it be a group of standing timber. Fish are really relating to wood when it comes to a jig. Glide bait bite has been strong, both here and up the rivers. Most of those fish coming on ledgy type banks, channel swing ends, that sort of thing. Anywhere you've got a little bit of ledge, you got a little bit of cover, whether it be brush piles or standing timber. Guys have been catching some better quality. Kelly had a good day on Sunday, had over 23 pounds throwing a glide. So definitely keep that in mind if you want to target big fish, you want to throw a glide right now. And then the crankbait bite's not been nearly as good here as it is up the rivers, but you can still put some fish in the boat with a crankbait right now. Basically, hit those channel swing banks, hit the ends of those bluffs, gotta have wind on it. Throw a wiggle wart or a rock crawler, keep your boat in about 10, 12 foot of water, parallel the bank essentially. You can put a few fish in the boat if you've got some wind blowing. Go up in the James. James has a great jig bite right now and a great glide bite right now. If I were going up the James, I'd basically have two rods. I'd have my glide bait rod and I'd have a jig rod tied on. If I got a little bit of wind, I would get up there fairly shallow, less than 15 foot deep, throw that glide bait and parallel the bank around standing timber, around brush piles on those ledgy type banks and the ends of bluffs. That is really where that good glide bait is, or glide bite is. Again, that's if I were fishing a tournament or if I wanted to try to catch one or two or three, maybe even 4 or 5 big fish. You know, not necessarily worried about numbers, more worried about putting a big fish in the boat. Got a lot of gizzard shad moving around, starting to move up shallow. Now's the time to throw a glide. The other bite that's going on up the river, a jig bite, whether it be with a spider jig or a football jig. Fish are relating to wood, fish are relating to rock, main lake and secondary points. Anywhere from about 8 to about 15 foot deep seems to be all the deeper you need to fish with a jig right now to get bit. Same colors that are working all the time, Okeechobee Blue, Touchdown, Hail Mary, and even Bass Whacker. All those colors are working on a jig up the river right now. White River, fished the White River on Friday. I had a good deep bite up the White River. It was a little bit weird because we had a lot of cloud cover, so it wasn't quite as good as I was hoping it would be, but we did manage to put several in the boat up the White River this over the weekend. Most of them around standing timber, back in the creeks, and we had to have shad. The majority of the fish we caught were on either a damiki or a drop shot with a shad shape, but you can catch them on a scuba spoon, you can catch them on a jigging wrap, you can catch them on the live spin as well. Just got to have the shad around. Have not really found a lot of fish out on the main lake flats and main lake points yet as far as up the White River, but I fully expect, I think if I went up far enough, I could probably find them, but I haven't been above Shell Knob in a couple of weeks, so I think that bite's coming. Cooler water, going to get those fish moving, get the shad moving. We're going to start to see that bite on the main lake as well. Jig bite is outstanding up there too. Pee Wee HD football jig, Pee Wee HD spider, regular spider jig, heavy cover football jig. The key to that bite is a combination of gravel and rock and some sort of wood, either brush piles or standing timber. You got to have some wood. That's what's holding the fish right now. And up the White River, they've been anywhere from about 8 feet to about 20 feet deep. Work it slow. I know some guys are catching them on a Ned rig and some guys are catching them on a shaky head in these same locations. So if that's kind of your cup of tea, you can certainly catch them up the White River on that. Windy day, crankbait bite's strong. It's not great. It's pretty strong. It's much better up the Kings where you've got a little bit of watercolor. Wiggle wart rock crawler from the bank out to about 10 foot deep. So just get your boat on the bank and parallel. You can certainly catch them doing that. Have not talked to anybody who's caught them on a glide up there, but I would fully expect if they're eating a glide up the James, they're going to eat a glide up the Kings. So that same channel swing ends, ledge rock points, ledge rock banks with some timber on it, that's where you're going to find those glide bait fish up the James, or I'm sorry, up the Kings and probably up the White as well. Guys, we're halfway through December. Water temperature is more like the beginning of November, but we are starting to see that deep bite come on. And I really think it's going to be strong. I did find a real good group of deep fish today. I have a feeling that it's going to get better as this water continues to cool. We don't have a lot of really warm days coming up, and most of the nights we're down in the 30s, so I expect the water temperature to continue to drop. Again, if you want to learn that deep bite, you want to learn how to catch these fish out of 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 foot of water, want to learn more about your electronics, want to learn more about boat positioning, want to learn more about how to find these deep fish, now's the time to come, now's the time to call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, where you can either book online or just shoot me an email. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for being Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro members. Thanks for watching the video. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.